if you have some stubborn areas, like down in that checking, you can lay a rag over it, pour just a few drops of lacquer thinner on that rag, and it'll just keep it right on there. It'll saturate that, and then you can take your brush and brush it out. You want to brush in line with the direction of the cuts. You'll have cuts going this way and cuts going this way. Brush in line with those cuts, and it'll come out a lot better. Alright, that thing is stripped and cleaned as much as I can clean it with just solvent and a rag, and I'm going to let it dry. I've got my checking scrubbed out with a brush. I'm just going to let this thing dry for a day or so, and then I'm going to sand on it, take out any dings I need to. If I have to steam them, I will. I don't see anything bad enough to have to steam, but I believe it's going to finish out real nicely. When I do an old gun like this, I don't necessarily take every single thing out and make it just totally pristine like a brand new one. If you get a brand new look on a old gun, it just doesn't look, it looks kind of out of place. So I will wait till it's dry, and then I'll start sanding on it a little bit and make sure all of the finish is out of every little crack and crevice, and then I'll go from there. But it doesn't need to look like a brand new gun just bought the day before at a gun shop if it's 60, 70 years old. It just doesn't. It looks better if you have just the slightest little hint of a little bit of a uh-oh left here and there, but it looks like it's lived its whole life and been taken fairly good care of by somebody that really cared. That's the look I go for. That's what I try to achieve. The butt pad that was on here was a really old Pockmeyer white line, which is what this is, and he wanted one to match it. Pockmeyer has had a standardized bolt center for so long I can't even remember. The old one I took off actually had slotted head screws. I think it puts it back into the early to mid 60s to have slot head screws. When you get a new pad, the holes are not marked out here on the outside. You have to go inside with a punch or an ice pick or an awl, something sharp. You find the middle of that hole, the very middle, and you just poke it out. And you keep your finger out of the way. And when you pull it back, it'll leave a little mark, just a little bitty mark. You take a razor blade and then you make a little cut, just a little bitty cut, vertical, about that deep. I took a long Phillips bit and I ground this part right here down kind of skinny. This is about all I ever use these bits for, is just putting on butt pads. If you leave that fat and you put it in that rubber part, you chew it out. Put a little drop of oil on that little slit that you made. You put a little oil on the screw. You push it in there. When you shove that screw in there and get oil on it, you just push it right on in with your screwdriver tip. And I just leave the tip of the screwdriver stuck in there. I keep 2 of them at least. Just push it through. Just shove the head of the screw through there. And since these centers are the same as these centers, you just screw it right in there. If you don't have that luxury, you got to drill holes, which that's very doable. By leaving those tips in there, you keep from having to pull it in and out, pull it in and out, and tearing that rubber up. Then I go over here to the bandsaw and trim off as much of this excess as I can with a bandsaw, and then I'll sand it down with a disc. And working around this checkering, you want to stay off of it as much as absolutely possible. You're gonna flatten it off a little bit, but try to just do your best to stay off of it. I'm gonna recut the checking anyway, but you don't want the gun to end up actually smaller than what it was when you got it. Like I said before, I don't know what kind of walnut this is, but I'll tell you one thing. It stinks. It's got a really unique smell to it. One thing you really have to be careful about redoing an old one like this is where this wood comes up and touches that metal. If you sand off too much of that, your metal sticks up. It protrudes. And this one is like a razor edge. It's okay, but I don't want to take any more of it off than that. And I still couldn't get all the real deep scratches out of it, which that's all right. It'll finish out and it'll still look like an old gun, which is what it is. You do need to be careful of these little sharp edges. You don't want to round them over. Got a really bad ding right there, right in that concave. I'm gonna have to lay it on its side to have better control getting that out of there.